Just when you thought you saw it all of crazy, extreme, far left policies of California's politicians, we get a new report showing that over $4 million of your taxpayer funds were spent for prisoners behind bars to get sex change surgeries in California. Coming up, I'll tell you all the gory details, all of the gory details, but no photos, and what we're doing to fight back. I'm Carl DeMaio, chairman of Reform California, and you know California politics is far left. And there are a lot of crazy policies that we see and hear about every day. It angers us. We roll our eyes. We realize it's a waste of money. We realize that it's offensive and counterproductive. But this one is one of the worst. There's a new report out showing that California politicians have authorized over $4 million worth of taxpayer payouts so that prisoners behind bars in state prisons, and yes, I guess there are still a few people behind bars in California prisons, even though they released most of the people out into the streets. But over $4 million of your taxpayer money has been used by politicians in California for sex change therapy, surgeries, various other procedures. These are for prisoners behind bars that have committed some of the most heinous, violent crimes. But apparently politicians say, oh, they deserve taxpayer-funded sex change services and therapies. Here's the Daily Wire with their report. California has spent over $4 million in taxpayer dollars on gender surgeries for prisoners. And by the way, we reported on this at Reform California back in 2018 when the state started this policy. And let me give you the background on it before I show you what they're spending their money on, which is grotesque and indefensible. In 2017, a liberal group sued the state of California, saying that prisoners who are transgender behind bars need to feel comfortable. And part of being comfortable means that they should have breast surgery. They should have their body parts changed out from male to female, female to male. And they should even, no joke, the lawsuit sought nightgowns for a guy to become a transgender woman. The lawsuit was filed, but it never went to court. Never got a jury, never got a judge to really weigh in on the merits of the lawsuit. No, this is one of those scams, and we called it out at the time. It's called sue and settle. Sue and settle scams. This is where the politicians say, hey, we want to do something, but can you first sue us so that if anyone asks, we get to say, oh, it really wasn't our choice. We were sued. And as part of that lawsuit, we had to agree to make these payouts, change this policy and whatnot. The sue and settle scam is one of the oldest tricks in the books used by far left activists and the politicians in office to try to basically not be held accountable for the rot, the bad policies that they want to support and advance. So they sued the state of California Department of Corrections in 2017. And the Department of Corrections threw their hands up saying, oh, we better settle. And as part of that settlement, they said, sure, we'll do whatever you want. We'll give you any of the monies, any of the surgeries, any of the nightgowns, any of the earrings, whatever it is, Mary Kay Cosmetics. Who knows? Okay, these people are just absurd. So the sue and settle scam went through. I called out this settlement at the time as completely unjustified and a scam. And yet the policy was put in place. And now we know what the cost of the policy is. Over $4 million for transgender surgeries and procedures for over 150 inmates, 157 inmates to be exact, since 2017 when this sue and settle scam was put in place. Washington Free Beacon actually requested the records as part of its investigation. It goes on to say that, and I don't want to verbally use the terms, but you can see them, I think. The producers may blur it out. But let me translate it for you since we are a family audience. In 2017, California became the first state to pay for prisoners to go under the knife if they wanted to present as the opposite sex. Since then, California has spent over $2.5 million on, okay, that's a procedure I think that makes a man a woman. They are also doing transgender procedures such as breast surgeries, laser hair removal, facial feminization. I think Rosie O'Donnell could benefit from some of that stuff. So a variety of surgeries that are not life threatening. They're not life sustaining. There's no medical justification health-wise for these surgeries, but taxpayers are paying for this crap. For prisoners, all right? We already pay for these surgeries for people who are not prisoners in the state of California. Again, Medi-Cal, all the government programs, healthcare benefits, regulation on insurance. But these are prisoners. These are prisoners who've committed violent felonies, who've broken public trust. They should be behind bars being punished. It's not, oh, since I'm going to be in prison for a few years, that's where I'm going to surprise everyone. No one's going to really know who I am when I come out because I'm going to be so different. And we're going to do a whole entire surgery. It's like a day spa, but for 4 years. No, your responsibility is to punish prisoners, put them behind bars, teach them a lesson so they don't reoffend when they are released. So some of the things that the records showed, 35 male prisoners got artificial women's parts. That cost $2.5 million. 11 male prisoners received breast implants, which was $180,000. 40 female inmates had their chests removed. That was $1 million for that sort of nonsense. Nothing about the nighties, though. I don't think we've got the nightgowns and apparel and various other makeup kits that they gave out. The requests for this nonsense have skyrocketed. In fact, California prisons have received an increase since 2017 of 234% in prisoners requesting taxpayer-funded surgeries and other transgender support. Even a male triple murderer was transferred to a women's prison because he said, I identify as a woman. Sure, those female prisoners at that prison are really excited about that. In 2021, a women's rights group filed in the U.S. District Court for the Eastern District of California because the women there said they were sexually assaulted by male inmates who claimed they were transgender or non-binary. That's according to the Sacramento Bee. Again, $4 million of your taxpayer money spent on transgender surgeries for prisoners. And of course, the nonsense of moving these people based on a whim, based on their decision that I want to be with the women or the male portion of the population. Now, let me be very clear. As a gay Republican, I'm a live and let live guy. I believe in the golden rule. Treat others as you'd like to be treated. Let's be very clear about that. And I have nothing against someone who says, I want to be transgender and you want to go find yourself, live a happy life. Just don't infringe upon my rights and my beliefs. I wish everybody well. But this is not about whether you affirm someone who's transgender. This is about whether criminals should be given an added taxpayer-funded benefit. And I think the answer is hell's no. It also is a question on whether someone who is transgender, who claims to be transgender, should be able to dictate which part of the prison population they're put in when it doesn't conform to their biological gender, their birth gender. We're talking about prisoners, people who are being punished. They don't get to call the shots. We need to be a state that has strict rules and focuses on what we're supposed to be getting out of our correctional system, which is rehabilitation and punishment for people who've done wrong. But that's not what we're getting. And this sue and settle scam needs to be overturned. The state of California can simply defund these surgeries and say, you know what? Sorry, no money in the budget. No, we have to set priorities. Maybe if there's more money later on, we can look at other things, but not right now. Again, and also the settlement, I think we need to go look at the legal settlement itself and basically challenge it on the basis of it was a scam, that the taxpayers were not given proper representation or defense against the lawsuit. Our politicians need to be held accountable for this garbage. And the first step of holding them accountable is spreading the word. So please help us get this video out to as many people as possible. You know damn well that the tech companies do not want people to know about it. So please comment in the section below, like the video, and share it. It helps us goose the algorithm, even though they're trying to suppress. Also, go to the website reformcalifornia.org, reformcalifornia.org. Chip in a contribution to support our work. We are entirely grassroots funded, and we rely on your support to get the word out to voters in California and try to change some of these bad policies. Sign up as a volunteer so you can get our voter guide in the next election and distribute it to your friends. And then finally, we do urge you, share the stories that we have up on that site, reformcalifornia.org. We've got to change the public's perception about what's going on in California to make it realistic. The liberal media in California will not tell the truth. They will not report these stories. So please help us out by going to that website, chipping in a contribution, signing up as a volunteer, and sharing the stories that are up there with your friends. reformcalifornia.org. Until next time, Carl DeMaio, Chairman of Reform California. Thanks for watching. Help us break through the censorship of the liberal media by liking this video, sharing it with your friends, and subscribe to my YouTube channel.